Happy Self Love Sunday. I am Mo Sass, your host of Self Love Sundays with Sass. I am your certified vision and empowerment and extreme execution coach who comes every single Sunday so we can talk about all the ways in which we can better our best. And listen, we are literally at the end of November. Time is flying. I don't know about you, but for me, it feels like time is just flying. And all month, we've been talking about the things that we should say no to so that we can say yes to our lives later. And I was thinking about this because, I was having some conversations with people I know as well as clients. And the one thing I really want people to say no to is being the same person next year. I want you to say no to no longer growing in your life. I want you to say no to the fact that this whole feeling of being stuck. It's like, you don't have to be the same. You don't have to be in the same place doing the same things over and over again if you desire a different life. And the other thing is, please, 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 I need y'all to kill Drake's song, No New Friends, because the thing is, you need some new ones, okay? I said what I said. And I just want to state up front that I know that there is this big thing going around the internet with this young lady who was murdered in Mexico by her friends. And so now everybody's running around like, this is why you got to be alone. You can't trust your friends. Let me tell you something, right? First and foremost, as a mother, that broke my heart. And I'm going to say this, there are ways in which we as an adult, I'm talking to my 40 and 50 plus people, right? That we can discern with who we let in our lives. And here's what it starts with, okay? I'm talking to my grown folks now, okay? Because those children were young. They're my kids' age. But these are the things these are conversations that we don't have with our children because we haven't done it for ourselves. Number one, it starts with knowing who you are. When you begin to know who you are, what you like, what you don't like, the characteristic traits of the people who you desire to have in your life because you understand who you are and what you'll tolerate, there are certain people that can't even come in your life. I promise you, at this stage of the game, because I am in tune and in touch with who I am as a woman, as a mother, as a friend, there are certain people that can't touch me. That even if I come across them, be clear, because we come across different people, they will not be a staple in my life. They will not be people that I be around. There are certain behaviors that I'm just not with anymore as a grown adult. But as you begin to learn yourself and love yourself, okay, because this is a two-step process, and love everything about you, there are certain things and people, because there's certain things they're going to be doing that you're like, listen, I'm not even with that anymore. I'm not that girl anymore. Okay, I really want to say that because people will see something happen in the news or somewhere else and automatically be like, see, this is why. Come on, y'all, we have to stop doing that. How about, see, this is why you need to learn yourself, your triggers. This is why you have to learn what you love, and what you don't. This is why you have to learn to love yourself so then you won't accept any and everybody in your life. How about that? Can we try that? All right. I just want to be sure and upfront because it has really been bothering me all week to see that. And it's the same thing that the premise I've talked about before, where people will build these principles around their life based upon something that happened in somebody else's life. They will do anything but decide that they want to learn and love on themselves. They'll be like, see, this is why. It has nothing to do with that. I promise you, as I begin to learn and love myself more, the new people who have come into my life as I've leveled up, my world is different as a result of, and for the better, right? And these videos are not about me, but I use things in my life as well as my clients. I try not to give away who they are. Although sometimes they look and be like, girl, I know you was talking about me. Listen, okay, this is a part of the thing, all right? But the truth of the matter is that there are some new people that will come into your life who will open you up to experiences that you've never experienced before. And I'm telling you, once you see a thing, you can't unsee it. When I go into these conventions and I have my clients, I do this thing with them where it's 30 days of something new every single day. Why am I doing that? Because once you become exposed to something new, it will help you begin to grow and see things differently and shift your perspective in life. That's what it's all about. It's about opening yourself up to new experiences, right? And saying no to staying the same, being in the same place, doing the same thing with the same people, and then complaining. Now listen, if you're not complaining, you're cool with complacency, this is not for you. These are for my people who desire to grow and to have more and to do more and be more and see more. This is for you. Right now, I just finished, I promise you, scheduling a trip with somebody literally right before I came to do this video this morning because we're going to Texas together. Now, had I not opened myself up to learn and love myself and putting myself in new communities, this wouldn't be happening. And now this is my girl to the point where we're traveling together and about to do more than one trip. This is because I learned what my triggers are. I learned, and here's the thing, and I placed myself in an environment that has helped me grow out of my old triggers and traumas and grow out of those old patterns that kept me from people and kept me from loving on new people. That no new friend thing was a part of my life at one time, and it was a big mistake because it held me back. Not the people. I held myself back, and that's the other thing. I am accountable for my life. I am the CEO of my life, and so are you, right? So when I talk to you, I talk to you from a we perspective to understand, like, listen, I'm no better. I've just made different decisions, and I want to share my life with you so you can make different decisions, right? If you are a person who's making 5 figures or less and desire to have more, you can absolutely do it. It's about making the decision to say, what am I going to do differently with myself? I'm no longer going to allow myself to say that I'm stuck in this place or I don't want to be anymore. I'm going to make some new decisions. And here's what I'm going to say to you, because I say it all the time. I get it. When you just say it, it's simple to say, but it's like, oh man, it's not easy. Anything worth having, it's not easy, but it's worth it. Anything worth having isn't easy, but it's worth it. It's worth it, y'all. I have peace of mind every single day because I've made the decision to learn and love myself. And you want to talk about, so what we're talking about is how can you have the same peace of mind? Make the decision. So I want to go back because there was a point in time in my life where I couldn't afford a coach, y'all. I couldn't afford the communities that I'm in now. And here's the thing, I couldn't afford not to get in it, but I didn't have the mindset to understand that either, right? Because there's sometimes when you look at something like, man, I can't afford it. And I look at you and say, you can't afford not to. So that means make a way out of no way. And I'm speaking to you from a place of I was on welfare and had to make those very large decisions to bet on myself. I had to make the decision and say, listen, I'm going to invest in me, understanding that I'm going to put action behind the things that I'm learning. If I step into this community, if I make this investment in myself, that means I'm going to have to put some action and hold myself accountable, right? So this is what I did. But before I had that mindset and I was kind of closed off, there were some things that I did to help me. And that's what I want to share with you today. Because the way to get to the place of like, listen, understand that the world is your oyster and there's opportunity everywhere and there are beautiful people in this world. It takes a mindset shift. So I'm going to share with you today the books that I read years ago that helped shift my mentality to getting open to new things so that I could be open to walking and living and loving in my purpose. Okay. So the very first book, I promise you, I was in a messed up relationship. And it's funny because now that I'm looking back on, that's why I stuttered a little bit. It's like, man, I kind of was living in a depressed state, but not knowing because I can function. I'm a person that you can look at me and I'll be smiling and just, yo, what's up? And everything is great. And then the inside just was a mess. That just was the mask I was able to wear. I didn't necessarily wear my emotions out front. My emotions were kind of hidden in the inside. I wasn't vulnerable and just open to sharing with people. So people always thought like, yo, she has it all together. Like she's chilling. Meanwhile, I was in a very messed up verbal and kind of physical messed up relationship. And when I say physical, I don't say physical abuse, because I'm gonna just be honest with you. I threw my hands too. Okay, I'm just gonna keep it real. Everybody is not willing to do that. I am, like, so I was in a messed up place. So this is the very first book when I realized why I was living my life the way I was, is because I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know where I wanted to be. I didn't know anything. First of all, I didn't love no part of me, so I sure couldn't love anybody else. And people keep saying that's not real. You can love somebody and not love yourself. Yeah, you can, but you can only love them at the level at which you love yourself. You understand what I'm saying? Like, real talk, like, you got to sit back and think about that. Yeah, I have the capability to love, but at what level? Okay? So the very first book, Something More, Excavating Your Authentic Self by Sarah Ban Breathnach. And it's spelled Breathnach. And she's also the author of Simple Abundance. But let me tell you, this book changed my life. And when I say changed my life, it changed my life. I have so many notes in here. I mean, she really took me from like, oh my God, this is why I behave the way I do. I'm literally in survival mode. I'm trying to survive. So just imagine being in a dark hole, y'all, and you trying to get out. You're not caring about nothing. You're just trying to claw your way out this hole. You don't care what it costs you. You don't care about anything. You don't care about how you feel. You let alone how about anybody else. You just trying to get out of it. You're just trying to get out of this hole. That's literally where I was. I was so unsatisfied and so unhappy. And this is in 2015, I think, when I started opening myself up to this. I'm trying to look at my notes as I'm talking to y'all. Because here's what, when I made this video, I didn't want to be, I am always normally prepared and I know the subject because I kind of discuss with God first what I'm going to talk about. But there are some things I like to leave as a surprise to myself. And it's just some of these notes that I wrote in here is just amazing what I was thinking about. Like, some of the things that I wrote, it's just so real. And I'm going to read one thing to y'all. This is how real it was. It said the situation with, and I'm going to say the guy who touched me, taught me my parents didn't love nor care anything about me. How could that man run free after touching me? Then I had to go back over there a few months later as if nothing ever happened. I would never let that happen to my kids. I would die trying to make sure they never feel those feelings. And why was this important? Because this is the trauma I was harboring. I thought my parents didn't love me, so therefore what? Like, I just started wilding out. When I thought my mother and father didn't love me, which is the furthest thing from the truth. But again, this is a child's mind. But here's the thing. That happened to me at 13. I was almost 40 reading this book. Right? Like, I was almost 40 years old and I was still holding that. And so what am I saying to you? A lot of people are still holding on to the hurt and the trauma, the pain that they felt as a child, and it's ruining and running your life today. The child is running amok. Man, let me tell you something. The little girl in me was running amok. But this book had me writing things like that. And I was like, wow, this is still in me, right? It had me journaling this stuff. So this was the very first book that really opened me up to understanding, like, man, I got married. I was married and had no idea who I was as a person. How do you get married? You don't even know who you are. No wonder I'm divorced. No wonder I'm in this messed up relationship. And I'm going to tell you what, am I talking about this because I'm blaming them? No, this is about light bulb moments in your life. This is about opening yourself up to what's going on with you so that you don't have to be the same person doing the same thing, wishing, hoping, and praying for a different result, but not putting any action behind it. 2023 can be a better year because right now in 22, you decided to take the next step. All right. So I'm not going to harp on that anymore. All right. We're going to go on to the next book. John C. Maxwell, How Successful People Think. Let me tell you something. When I read this book, I realized my mindset was totally messed up. completely gone. I was like, oh my God. No wonder I'm not successful in my relationships. No wonder I'm not successful. As a mom, I was doing the best I could. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that God was totally down and bad on myself, but I had to open up to realize I could be better. Some of you have to open up and realize, yeah, it can get better. You can have better than where you are right now. But it takes a shift in your mindset. So I'm gonna just tell you I've probably literally read every John C. Maxwell books known. He's one of my favorite authors dealing with leadership, and how just to be successful in your life. He taught me really how to be a steward of the people. He taught me how to come here and speak to you and give this away and give myself away for free, because I understand that not everybody, again, understands the mentality of you can't afford not to get help. But until that time comes, I want to offer everything that I did to help me change my life. So this is this in every John C. Maxwell book, but I started off with this one, and this is the one I've gifted to many people. All right. The next one was The Gifts of Imperfection by Brene Brown. This book taught me to let go of the shame. I was harboring, although what happened to me as a child wasn't on me. It was on the nasty, dirty grown man that did it. But at the end of the day, I was still harboring around so much shame and guilt, because after that happened, I literally wilded out. And when I say wild out, that means I was just doing a bunch of things, y'all, that wasn't becoming of a woman. It wasn't becoming of a lady. It wasn't becoming of a girl. I just was out there. And although I made some great decisions in the midst of it, it wasn't terrible. I don't want you to get the idea that my life was like just completely rut mess. No, but I was self-sabotaging some of the most beautiful things in my life. And I was choosing people. This is it. I was choosing people from a low place. I was choosing environments from a low place. So that's why things weren't changing in my life. And I kept being on this merry-go-round, this circle of meeting the same men over and over, hoping for a different result. Meeting the same people in different bodies over and over again from a friend standpoint, hoping for a different result. Because I didn't know and love me. But I realized I had to let go of the shame, and then when I shared, oh my God, parts of me with people who really would like pretend that they love me, but they didn't. Guess what they did? They talked about me. They talked about it. So I had to learn to let go, so that now if they talk about it, I promise you, with everything in me, I don't care. I don't care. I've given it all the way. I really have. Now, does it hurt me sometimes? Like, man, I couldn't believe that they said that about me. Sure. But do I hold it? No, ma'am. Okay. And I'm sharing this because I want you to get here. Okay. All right. So, and this is not about saying, oh, I don't care what people think about me, because that would be a complete lie. I care what my children think about me. I do. I care what my parents think about me. I do. That would be a whole lie. And the one thing I'm not going to do, one thing for certain and two things for sure, is come up here and lie to y'all. Not going to do that. Okay. So The Gift of Imperfection. The next book that started after, I started getting my mind a little bit better, starting off with those books, and The Magic of Thinking Big. This was the very first book that I read that really had me believing, like, y'all, like, six figures isn't the ceiling. Because at one point in my life, that's all I knew, right? I was coming from being a welfare mother, $322 a month. So to make the six figure child, I thought I did. So I was like, oh, I made it. There's more. There's absolutely more, and you can have more, but you have to think big. And there's a meme that's going around, or there's a meme that's going around on TikTok. So you got to think big. And he said the curse word afterward. You got to think big, B. That's what he said. So I'm telling you, you got to think big, y'all. Start thinking bigger. Bigger. If you want a better, day, if you want a better week, which will lead to a better month, which will lead to a better life, you got to start thinking big. Know that you can have it. What it takes is for you to start to speak it, write it. You heard me, write it down, and then start working towards believing it. Because I understand that it's belief. It's belief sometimes. It's like, man, can I really do it? And I'm here to tell you, you absolutely can. It just takes for you to have that mindset shift. I'm no better. I'm no different. I just choose to know and believe that I can. So what helped me with my big belief? What's the book that helped me with my big belief? And I'm not lying to y'all. This. Okay. This is my Bible. I love the NIV version. Miles Monroe is one of my coaches that has never met me in my life. Right. And so when we talk about things that I do, I listen to YouTube. I listen to people like Miles Monroe and Les Brown and Eric Thomas, Priscilla Shirer, Sarah Jakes Roberts. I listen to people who help me grow. So 9 times out of 10, you're not going to catch me watching a bunch of TV. And I ain't going to front. I do scroll on social media. But if I am, I'm listening to people that's going to help me grow, right? So the NIV version is the study version of the Bible. And y'all see, listen, I got notebooks in there, highlighters, everything. Because the Bible really helped me with my belief. When I couldn't necessarily believe in me, I believed in how God saw me. It's the truth. It was like, he said, I was fearfully and wonderfully made. And I had to start saying it to myself over and over again. So I started with the great I am. I wish you could see my mirror that's sitting in front of me. I started with the great I am. And so I started writing down, I am a millionaire. This is literally on my mirror. I am a healer. I am love. I am light. I am successful. I am gold. I am a giver. I am beautiful. I am a great mom. I started writing with the great I am. Because the one thing that you will not catch me doing is tell you what I am not. I'm going to tell you what I am. And I want you to start telling yourself who you are. The great I am. Let me tell you something. Negativity and positivity can't live in the same place. So when you start to speak over yourself, speak life over yourself, tell yourself, I am these things. And if repetition is mastery, so you say it over and over and over again, you write it 10 times over and over again, it's going to start to seep in. And then you're going to start to believe who you are. And this is not to give ourselves an overinflated ego. No, this is not what that is about. This is about to help you to get to that next level in your life so that you continue to grow. Why are we looking to grow? So that we can live and walk in our purpose. Why are we living and walking in our purpose? So that we can leave something beautiful on this earth. Don't complain about how bad the world is if you're not willing to leave something beautiful behind. If you're not willing to give back to it right now, don't complain about it. You have a choice. You have a voice. You have a gift. Let's get to what that gift is. So, to sum it up, you must be willing to learn and love yourself. You must be willing to be accountable for your life. Stop blaming everybody else. Stop looking at the news and saying, see, this is why. Get into you, okay? Be accountable. You must be willing to be self-aware and self-assess, right? You must be willing to get curious about why you feel the way you do and look at things you do. Ask yourself, how can I? Not, I can't afford it. How can I afford it? How can I afford? I can't afford not to invest in myself. I can't afford not to grow. I can't afford not to heal. I can't afford not to because I love myself enough to take myself to the next level, right? Why do I feel the way that I feel about people? Why am I not trusting? Why am I not trusting people or places or things? What is it that's going on? Is it that they're really not trustworthy or if there's something that I'm holding on to myself? Because when I found with most clients is when they've experienced some sort of trauma, the lack of trust is because they couldn't trust somebody when they were young, so they still carry that forward. Okay? You must be willing to create the life that you want. No one's going to come and give it to you, baby. You have to be willing to create it. So what do you want? Have you dated yourself? I don't care if you're in a marriage. Have you been in a relationship with yourself? What do you love about you? What don't you love about you? How can we begin to look at that so we can start to work towards whatever that is so you can love it? Love yourself on such a level that no matter who comes and leaves your life, they can come and go with love. That's when you know you mastered something, okay? No matter what they do or say, I love you. And it's all good. It just means that our season is up. I love you and it's all good. It just meant that our season was up. That's it. That's all. We don't have to dog them out. I'm not doing that. I ain't for that. And I don't care if friends, ex-boyfriends, whatever. I just ain't for it. I love you. Our season was up. And I love myself enough to know that it's time to move forward. That's it. That's all. All right. And so the other thing is don't give yourself back doors. I've learned that. So there's this book that I'm reading right now that I adore. It's called Take the Stairs. And this is by Rory Vaden. And he talks about don't give yourself back doors because most people do, right? So how can I give myself a back door? They won't commit to anything. So if you're going to change your life, say, I will start to read these books by the end of the year. I will order it on Amazon today. Child, I get everything off Amazon. Okay. I will commit to changing my life. In 2023, I will be a better me. Okay. And then if somebody asks you to do something right, listen, either you will or no, I'm sorry, I can't commit to that right now. There was somebody who I knew, and I'm telling you, I couldn't stand it. I can't stand when somebody says, we will see. Don't tell them, listen, we know it's either we will or no, I'm sorry. And then there's some people that say no to everything because they're afraid to commit to anything. So busy being busy doing everything that we're accomplishing nothing because we're afraid to commit. I'm going to say it again. So busy doing everything that we're achieving nothing because we are afraid to commit. Let this be your sign to say, I will commit to me, to being the best me, right? This is why I do this. And so if you want help, reach out. Stop being afraid to ask a question. info@mosass.com, or leave a comment at the in the video in the comment section. I will always answer. Everything is not about money. Don't be afraid. Listen, closed mouths don't get fed. Reach out. Okay. And pretty soon I'm going to be offering an assessment because, there's a lot of times people don't understand what their gifts are and how they operate and don't understand, how they can help, love on themselves a little bit more, because everybody doesn't understand that self-love and self-care, two very different things, and how to do that and what areas they may need to grow on or look at and how their perspective, maybe harming them in some way, right? So closed-mindedness, maybe harming them in some portion of life. Some people are killing it in some areas of life and bombing in other areas of life. Why is that? Right? So there's an assessment that I have that I'm going to be offering so to help people open up to what their superpower and their gift is. Okay. So we will talk more about that in the month of December. Well, as a matter of fact, we'll talk more about that next week. All right. But anyway, like I said, if you have any questions, info@mosass.com. Feel free to leave a comment. If you want to check out my website, www.mosass.com, and that's MOESASS.com. Again, if you want to book with me, go ahead and book with me, and let's get started on you becoming the best you right now. So you're already in it for 23. I'm going to just tell you something right now. If you wait till 2023, you're already too late. Okay. We starting now. Listen, I already have my theme, everything ready for 2023, where I'm going, where I'm headed. I just got to get it on my vision board because it's all written down. Again, remember what I said, write it down, speak it, write it, and get some action behind it. I love you. I hope for those of you who celebrate Thanksgiving, I hope you have the most amazing holiday, and I will talk to you next Sunday.